So I'm sure many of you have recognized that recently Niantic has been pushing all of the remaining Mega Evolutions into Pokemon Go, and in general, it just seems like that has been the central theme for this month. We are going to be getting the release of Mega Camerupt really soon, and with many teasers pointing out that we are going to be getting Mega Metagross as well. And that means the only remaining Mega Evolution that we still do not have is going to be Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Mewtwo Y. So for this video, I wanted to do a tier list of all of the Mega Evolutions that we've ever had, along with Mega Camerupt, Mega Metagross, along with the two Mega Mewtwo's. Alright, what's happening everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So going along with the theme of Mega Evolutions that seems to be very prevalent with this current new season, we are going to be going over the Mega Evolutions that have been released in Pokemon Go up to this point, and then of course with some of the remaining Mega Evolutions that we are about to get. Now, the one caveat is, of course, we have a whole bunch of Mega Evolutions that was recently announced with, Pokémon Legends ZA and A. I really do think that for those Mega Evolutions, they're definitely going to be game changers, but we're not going to include them in this tier list, mainly because we do not know when they're going to be coming to Pokemon Go or what kind of impact they're going to have, but we at least have a really good idea at all of the Mega Evolutions that we already have, along with the ones that are on the way. Alrighty, so let's do this. This is basically going to be in a bit of a weird order. I think this might actually be in alphabetical order, I think. But yeah, let's just dive right into it. Alright, so let's start off with Mega Abomasnow. I'm gonna put this in the B tier. Well, let me actually start by saying this. So this is going to be in the perspective of pay to win, or I should say pay to win, PvE content. I do recognize that in very few cases, you will be able to use Mega Evolutions in PvP, specifically within the Master League, but it's extremely rare and it's extremely specific. I think we might actually have a run of Mega Evolution raids being in the Master League, I think actually right now. But still, this is all going to be from a PvE perspective, so everything that I do with this tier list, just keep that in mind. So, starting off with Mega Abomasnow, the reason why I would put it in the B tier is specifically because, yeah, it's a pretty decent Mega Evolution, but it's not necessarily going to be A tier or S tier. When it comes to Ice-type Mega Evolutions, it's going to be pretty good. In some cases, might even be the best, but it does get outclassed by Mega Glalie, which we're going to put it in right now. Let's actually put this in the A tier. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put Mega Abomasnow in the C tier, specifically when it comes to these tiers. S tiers are going to be your absolute best of the best Mega Evolutions. In some cases, even if it's not the best typing, you're going to want to use it. A tier, they're going to be some of the best Mega Evolutions for specific typings. Maybe they're going to be really good in a majority of cases. B tier, they're going to be decent Mega Evolutions, but ultimately they're going to be niche. C tiers, they're going to be essentially Mega Evolutions you hardly would ever use if you have a better version, like a better Mega Evolution for that typing. D tier, maybe you'd end up using it somewhere. Very, very rarely you would end up using it. And then trash tier are going to be just trash tier. Basically, trash tier is going to be those that I would say they're just straight Pokedex entries. You will never ever use them. Speaking of trash tier, that's going to be where Mega Absol is going to land. I think this is one of the most useless Mega Evolutions, bar none. And then Mega Aerodactyl is going to be a D tier. Mega Aerodactyl, maybe you might end up using it if you do not have other rock types or flying types. Yeah, I do not necessarily consider it top tier by any means. Mega Aggron, I'm going to put in the C tier. When it comes to steel types, pretty decent. Gonna be much better options out there. C tier is basically where you're gonna see a lot of those Pokemon, where it can be good, maybe, but much better options are out there. So yeah, C tier for this one. Mega Alakazam. Now, I'm gonna have a little bit of a struggle here because I do think this Pokemon is going to be in the A tier, but it could potentially be an S tier. Could potentially. The reason why I say that because as of right now, probably the best psychic type you could use, regardless. Like, if you need Psychic type raid damage, Mega Alakazam probably is going to be number one. But it is very squishy. It doesn't necessarily have a lot of uses. Yeah, I'm gonna put in the A tier. Really solid, regardless. Mega Altaria, trash tier. Mega Ampharos, this is also going to be an A tier. I think, oh, actually, I'm gonna put in the B tier. Now, Mega Ampharos, electric type raid damage, obviously. Very little Mega Evolutions you could use with electric types. Mega Ampharos is pretty good. Like, if you need an electric type Mega Evolution and you could only use Mega Ampharos, you're gonna be okay. The better option is going to be Mega Manectric. This one's gonna be in the A tier. Mega Manectric is going to be the better electric type Mega Evolution between these two. It's just going to deal just a little bit more DPS, and then ultimately it is a little bit tankier as well. So yeah, I will say between these two, this is how I would kind of land them. And it's kind of similar to these two, although these are both going to be a little bit of a tiered below. But for consistency's sake, let's just do this. I do feel like with Mega Manectric, it's very niche, very much like Mega Glalie. You're not going to use it as a generalist, whereas Mega Alakazam, you could potentially use it as a generalist. Mega Manectric, it is really good, however. So I would say it is somewhat worth investing into, especially because at some points you might need a Mega Evolution for electric types, and you will definitely want to have one of these ready to go. I'm really thankful with some of the new Mega Evolutions that were recently announced with Pokémon Legends ZA or ZA, depending on where you live. I really like that they introduced Mega Raichu X and Y. There's two versions of it. I think Mega Evolutions, when it comes to electric types, it's been severely lacking. So once those get introduced into Pokemon Go, really excited about that. I think for electric types, it's going to be something that's very much been needed. All right, moving along. Mega Adino, trash tier, normal types. Obviously, you never use them. And that's basically Mega Adino. It's a normal type, Mega Evolution. You're hardly ever going to use it. Mega Banette. This one's a bit of an interesting case because I will say that Mega Banette is actually really good. The one thing about it is that it doesn't deal as much ghost type DPS as Mega Gengar, but it does have a lot of TDO. And it doesn't have a poison typing. One of the issues with Mega Gengar is that it does have the poison typing, and it's also a glass cannon, which means for most of the raid bosses where you would actually use it, it's actually going to be weak against some of the attacks, specifically against psychic types. Because if you're going up against a psychic type raid boss, you would want a ghost type Mega Evolution, obviously, because it deals the most DPS, but it's also going to deal a lot of super effective DPS against Mega Gengar. However, since we're on the topic, I'm going to put Mega Gengar in the A tier because very much like Mega Alakazam, it's really good. When it comes to ghost types, basically second to none. You know, Mega Banette, some people could make the case that that's going to be the better option, but I still think Mega Gengar is probably the best when it comes to ghost type raid damage, and on top of that, it's one of the hardest hitting Pokemon in the game right now. It's just probably the glassiest of cannons. It's so good. All right, moving on. Let's go to Mega Beedrill. This one's going to be a C tier. I do like Mega Beedrill, and some players always say that Mega Beedrill is underrated. Yeah, in some cases I can see that. For bug type raid damage and poison type raid damage, it's actually not that bad. But it's going to be a C tier for me. Unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily really hit the top tier counters lists often. Like, I don't even think ever. Maybe for poison types, you might want to use it. Actually, I think it might be one of the best poison types in the game. But that's so rare. You don't often ever see a raid boss that's weak against poison types. So yeah, I'm going to put it in the C tier. Mega Blastoise, this is going to be a D tier. I really wish I could see Mega Blastoise get a power up. Unfortunately, it's not that good. When it comes to the Gen 1 starters, it's by far the weakest Mega Evolution. Unfortunately, you don't ever really see Mega Evolution, or Mega Blastoise ever get used as the Mega Evolution for the raid. The reason for that is because obviously you would use it for water type raid damage, but unfortunately it's in the same pool of Pokemon like Mega Swampert, Mega Kyogre. Both of those are going to be up here. later on, spoiler warning. Even Mega Gyarados. I feel like Mega Gyarados is still way stronger than Mega Blastoise. Mega Blastoise does have one thing going for it in that it is extremely tanky, and you're not going to be punished for using Mega Blastoise if you need a water-type Mega Evolution, so that's why it's going to be a D tier. Not completely useless, but also not something I suggest you ever use. Now, Mega Blaziken, this is actually on the opposite spectrum. This one's actually going to be an A tier. Some would argue it should be an S tier, but I will say it has fallen off a little bit in the past couple of months with the release of certain other Mega Evolutions. It used to be the #1 fighting type Mega Evolution by far. It no longer is the case, but it still is a top tier Mega Evolution. So if you do not have a good fighting type Mega Evolution, specifically Mega Lucario, then you will want to go with Mega Blaziken. It's just that good. Alright, so now we got one of the Mega Evolutions that has yet to be released in Pokemon Go, but we can kind of get an idea of like whether or not it's going to be good. Mega Camerupt. Oop, not Mega Mewtwo. Let's see. Mega Camerupt. So I'm going to put this in the B tier. Basically, it's kind of like the poor man's version of Primal Groudon. I mean, Primal Groudon, it's really good. I'm just going to move it over here. Primal Groudon is basically the much better version of Mega Camerupt, at least from everything that I've seen. Mega Camerupt is still going to be really good. It's not going to be useless. If you do not have the Mega Energy, or I should say the Primal Energy for a Primal Groudon, then you will want to go with Mega Camerupt, specifically when it comes to ground type raid damage. It's pretty good, and you do not want to ignore it. But yeah, solid B tier. If you have every single Mega Evolution in your arsenal, you're never going to use Mega Camerupt. That's just the cold hard facts. But yeah, it's pretty good, especially for newer players who may not have the Primal Energy for Primal Groudon. Alright, next up, let's go over the two Charizards. So, Charizard X, I'm going to actually put in the B tier. It's not bad. It really isn't bad. I will say, like, there are some times where you might actually use it, but often it's going to be kind of relegated as a backup. You do not necessarily ever use Mega Charizard X, mainly because Mega Charizard Y is just a smidge better, and that's why I'm going to put it in the A tier. It's not going to be the best fire type, it's not going to be the best flying type. In some cases it might be, but if you don't have every Mega Evolution, you're definitely going to use Mega Charizard Y. It is actually really that good. So yeah, A tier for it. I think some people have often considered it an S tier. It's one of the best non-legendary Mega Evolutions in the game, and it's definitely worthy of an A tier slot. Alright, next up we got Mega Diancie. It's another A tier. Now this is one of those Mega Evolutions where at the time it came out, a lot of people considered it to be really good. It was just extremely difficult to ever use because you don't really have a lot of Mega Energy for this one particular Pokemon, but if you do have the Mega Energy for it, it might actually prove to be useful. When it comes to fairy types and when it comes to rock types, there's not many options out there when it comes to Mega Evolutions, so Mega Diancie could be a great option if you need a Mega Evolution of either of those typings. Now, Mega Gallade, it's one of the newer ones. This one I'm going to put in the C tier. Fighting type, Psychic type, much better options out there. Not overly useless, not necessarily top tier. Yeah, it's kind of average. It's kind of mid. Hence why it's going to be in the C tier. Now, Mega Garchomp. This is going to be an obvious A tier. Let me tell you why. Basically, when it comes to dragon types, it is pretty much the best non-legendary Mega Evolution when it comes to dragon type raid damage. It's really good. There is a lot of options when it comes to dragon type Mega Evolutions. Surprisingly, that's the one typing where they kind of made the most Mega Evolutions for. But among them, I will say it is probably second best. The first choice is going to be obvious. We'll talk about it later. But among the Mega Evolutions for dragon types, it's a really good one. If you do not have, well, I'll just say it right now, Mega Rayquaza, if you do not have the Mega Energy for it, there's obviously a lot of hoops and, roadblocks for getting yourself a Mega Rayquaza. If you do not have it, Mega Garchomp is your best option, by far. Alright, and this is actually going to be our first S tier of this list. It's going to be Mega Gardevoir. Now, the reason why I have Mega Gardevoir as the S tier is because there's so many raid bosses that are weak against Mega Gardevoir. Like, a lot of legendaries are weak against Mega Gardevoir. And it deals an incredible amount of DPS. As a fairy type, as a psychic type, very versatile. In some cases, as a Psychic type, it might be more useful than even Mega Alakazam. Don't fight me on that. I really do think this is very much worthy of being an S tier. For all my experiences making counters for raid bosses, like with my raid guide videos, I often find that Mega Gardevoir does get included quite often. It's a very powerful Pokemon, and the type combination of Psychic and Fairy actually complement each other really well. So I will say this is a very solid S tier. Yeah, maybe you disagree with me on that. If you do, make sure you say your reasons for it in the comments down below. Some people say maybe it's more so an A tier, especially compared to these others. But for me personally, I will say it is an S tier. Yeah. All right, Mega Gyarados. Now this one's a little tricky because at some point, Mega Gyarados was considered one of the best in the game. But I'm gonna put it in the B tier. It's fallen off quite a bit. The reason why I say that is because when it comes to water types, there's obviously a lot of really good options that we'll get into later. When it comes to dark types, there's one specific option that did knock it down. I will say that it used to be what I would consider an easy A tier, but now it's going to be a B tier. And you'll kind of understand later on. All right, next we got Mega Heracross. This one I'm gonna put in the B tier. It's a little bit niche, I will say. It used to be really useful for a very short period of time as one of the best fighting types, but it was competing with Mega Blaziken, so I think because of that, you really wouldn't use it for fighting. But when it comes to bug types, yeah, it's pretty good. The only unfortunate thing is, not many raid bosses, specifically legendaries, are weak against bug types. Only one is specifically weak against bug types, and that is of course Hoopa, but we hardly ever see Hoopa. It was a elite raid, which is like the one time where you saw Mega Heracross shine the most, and yeah, I would say because of that, it's going to be a B tier. Not completely useless. I do think there has many cases where you could use Mega Heracross and not be punished for it, but yeah, it's going to be a B tier specifically because of how niche it is. And then next up we got Mega Houndoom. It's going to be a B tier as well. Not really the best when it comes to dark types, but not overly useless. Yeah, it's going to be a solid B tier. Let's see, Mega Kangaskhan, that's going to be trash. Very easily trash. All right, we got the primals. So both Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon, obviously very easy S tiers. And I totally recognize that both of these are technically not Mega Evolutions, but their mechanics are pretty much the exact same thing. In place of using a Mega Evolution, you use a Primal Reversion, so both of these I'm including for that reason. And yeah, they're going to be pretty solid S tiers. They're some of the most hard-hitting Pokemon in the game, and then when it comes to water types, Kyogre is going to be the absolute best. When it comes to ground types, Groudon is going to be the absolute best. Yeah, there's so many cases where I've used both of these Mega Evolutions, or I should say Primal Reversions, and yeah, for me, they're obvious S tiers. All right, let's go to Latios and Latias. This is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm going to put them in the C tier. You would only really use them for Dragon type raid damage, but there's so many really good options. I think among all the Dragon type Mega Evolutions that you could potentially use, they're actually going to be at the very last. Like, you're never going to prioritize either of these. They deal quite a bit of damage, and they do, you know, have some pretty decent moves, and they have some pretty decent types. But again, I think there's much better options when it comes to Dragon types. They're going to be in the C tier. Now, in terms of Mega Lopunny, this one's going to be a little bit tricky because it's kind of teetering in between here. I'm just gonna slot it into the trash tier because hardly you will ever use it nowadays. But at some point, it was possibly even a C tier. The reason why I say that is because it does have fighting types as like one of its types, I believe. And because of that, some people actually did use it. And the only reason for that is because there was a lack of other fighting type Mega Evolutions. But at this point, there's so many different fighting type Mega Evolutions that you could use. One actually probably an S tier, which we'll get into almost immediately after this. Like, yeah, I think because of that, you'll hardly ever see Mega Lopunny. And at this point, it is essentially just a Pokedex entry. So yeah. Now, speaking of which, this is going to be our fourth S tier, Mega Lucario, very obviously for the reasons like I was just talking about. It is so good. It's a very powerful glass cannon. It has both the steel typing as well as the fighting typing, both of which does not have like a plethora of Mega Evolutions, you know? Like there's plenty of decent fighting types. But among all those fighting types, yeah, Mega Lucario is the obvious choice. When it comes to steel types, not many options as well. When it comes to steel types, you could use it. It's pretty good, I will say. Overall though, as just a pure attacker, it is so good. So Mega Lucario is by far very easily an S tier. Now, on the contrast to that, we got Mega Mawile. It's going to be another trash tier. Basically one and done, you don't need it. Mega Medicham and the same boat. You don't ever need Mega Medicham as a fighting type. Yeah, but again, Mega Lucario, so you'll hardly ever use it. Alright, so here we go. This is going to be speculation, just like Mega Camerupt. Mega Metagross. This one is, I'm going to put in the S tier. Reason why I say that is because Metagross by itself is such a powerful steel type raid attacker when it comes to steel type raid damage. You know that Mega Metagross is going to be extremely good. It is going to be a bit niche. Not many Pokemon out there are going to be weak against steel types, I admit that. But it also has the psychic typing, don't forget that. And there's not many options when it comes to psychic type Mega Evolutions. I think it could actually hold its own as a top tier psychic type as well. Mega Metagross, I do predict, is going to be one of the best Mega Evolutions in the game once it gets released, and I think that's why they're taking such a long time releasing it. And I think, actually, it might be the last non-Mega or non-legendary Mega Evolution that is going to come to Pokemon GO, considering that we are getting Mega Camerupt right before it. So, yeah, there you go. I think the reason why Niantic is saving it up is because of just how game-changing it could potentially be. And yeah, there's not many steel types out there right now, and pretty much all of them are trash. So Mega Metagross, definitely an S tier. We're going to preemptively put it there. Now, two more that are also coming to Pokemon GO one day. These are also going to be S tier, very obviously. Mega Mewtwo X, Mega Mewtwo Y, we can already predict they're probably going to be the best Mega Evolutions we're ever going to get. We just don't know when they're going to be released. They've been holding on to these two specific Mega Evolutions for a very long time, and I think for good reason, because the amount of hype that they're going to generate once they finally get released is going to be incredible. I think just like with Mega Rayquaza when that was released, these two are just going to be absolute game changers. I think in many cases, you're going to want to use Mega Mewtwo. I don't even know which one's going to be better than the other, but one of them is going to edge out the other, and it's going to be the one you will want to use regardless of typing. I think that's just how powerful they are going to be. The reason why I say that is, of course, because Mewtwo itself is kind of like that when it was first released. Mewtwo was a top tier raid attacker regardless of typing, and in some cases it did have a lot of type coverage because of its plethora of different moves. So I think it's going to follow suit. It's basically going to be a completely new era of Pokemon GO once these get released, and you're going to see a lot of content get trivialized with these two Mega Evolutions alone. So yeah, obvious S tiers for both of them, really solid, and I think I'm really excited for them to get released. I really hope it ends up being soon. All right, next up we got Mega Pidgeot. This one, I want to put it in the D tier, but I'm going to put it in the C tier. Not overly useless. It's not going to be amazing. But when it comes to flying types, sometimes you need a Mega Evolution that could do its job. And I think Mega Pidgeot is specifically that. But again, it's not necessarily going to be your best option when it comes to even flying types. So yeah, it's going to be a C tier. Mega Pinsir, kind of on the same boat. I kind of want to put it in the B tier, just because there are some cases where you might want to use it. Actually, yeah, I'm going to do that. So B tier for Mega Pinsir. Unlike Mega Heracross, it doesn't have like really a second typing it could fall back on. But when it comes to bug types, it's very solid. I think some people will make the argument it does kind of lose out against Mega Heracross even among bug types, but it's still really good. If you do not have Mega Heracross, yeah, Mega Pinsir is the one to go with. But of course, there's only really one legendary quality boss you would ever use either of these, and that's going to be Hoopa, and that's pretty much it. Pretty much every single other legendary that is weak against bug types, it's also going to be weak against dark types, it's also going to be weak against, I think, even steel types, you know, and in those cases, you will obviously want to go with either of those. But in the rare case that you need specifically a bug type, Mega Pinsir is definitely going to be pretty good. So yeah, hence why it's a B tier. You know what? I'm gonna put it in the C tier. I'm just gonna go with my gut. Only because Mega Heracross is technically a better option. Alright, so we got Mega Rayquaza. And yeah, S tier for sure. This is currently the best Mega Evolution in the game. It has both the flying typing as well as the dragon typing. When it comes to dragon types, there's so many different options, but it's going to be the absolute king. And then because there's only really 1 or 2 other options for flying types, it's going to be the best option for that as well. In some cases, it's also just a solid generalist. If you do not know what Mega Evolution to bring to a raid boss, you're going to be safe just bringing Mega Rayquaza. It's going to deal enough neutral damage to be considered top tier. Yeah, one of the best Mega Evolutions, probably the best that we've gotten so far, until Mega Mewtwo X and Y. In which case, the case could be made that either of these could be better than this, but we'll see when that happens. Alright, we got Mega Sableye, trash tier, unfortunately. Some people might make the argument that it's going to be somewhat good. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. When it comes to dark types and ghost types, so many better options. It's going to be a Pokedex entry for me. Alright, and then Mega Salamence. This is kind of a sad case because this is going to be a B tier because it's still a really good Mega Evolution. It was actually considered the best dragon type that's not Mega Rayquaza, a non-legendary Mega Evolution when it comes to dragon types, until Mega Garchomp came out. Mega Garchomp basically took over the slot that Mega Salamence once had. At one point, I would consider this an A tier, just behind Mega Rayquaza, but unfortunately now it's kind of in the bronze medal slot when it comes to dragon types, and that's because of these two. So yeah, if it wasn't for Mega Garchomp, this would actually be a little bit higher, but because of Mega Garchomp, it's going to be in the B tier. Still, not a useless Mega Evolution. It's a really good one. Unfortunately, there's just better options. That's specifically why. Now, here's a Pokemon that doesn't have better options, and that's going to be Mega Sceptile. Now, Mega Sceptile, the reason why it's an A tier is specifically because it's probably the best grass type Pokemon in the game. You know, it's glass cannon, it deals a lot of DPS, but it also has the dragon typing as well, so it gives you a little bit of resistances. It's a really good Pokemon. If you need a grass type raid attacker, yeah, you will want to go with Mega Sceptile. It deals a lot of damage against water types. I think it's my go-to Mega Evolution against Kyogre raids and like pretty much any water or ground type raid like Groudon and Kyogre. Both of them are weak against it. It's a really solid Pokemon, and I know some players who would even consider it an S tier. But for me personally, I'm going to put it in the A tier. It's not necessarily going to be a must-have Mega Evolution like these, but it is extremely good, and you do not want to ever discount it. Alright, Mega Scizor, unfortunately going to be a trash tier. Actually, I'm going to put in the D tier. There might be some case where you might use it, but it's one of those Mega Evolutions that a lot of players have forgotten about because, simply put, always much better options, and it's just simply not that good, unfortunately. But maybe not 100% useless. Mega Sharpedo, I'm going to put this in the C tier. Mega Sharpedo is not bad. Much better options are out there for dark types and water types, but it's not overly useless. It's going to be a C tier for that. On the same boat, we're going to put Mega Slowbro. Actually, I'm going to put this one up. The specific reason for that is because of Psychic types. Actually, no. It's basically in the same boat as Sharpedo. Water types, so many good options. Psychic types, so many good options. Not overly useless, but hardly ever going to be used. Mega Steelix. This is going to be in the B tier. I think in the context of this, it's going to be in the B tier. Currently, in the current state of the game, before Mega Metagross comes out, I would put it in the A tier because when it comes to steel types, there's just not any other better option. Some people would argue for Mega Aggron, of course, but yeah, it's going to be a B tier specifically because of just the steel typing and the fact that there's not many options out there. Mega Swampert, I'm going to put this in the A tier. In a very similar vein to some of these, it's extremely good. I think it's in the same boat as Mega Garchomp, where it is going to be the best water type that's not Primal Kyogre. So if you do not have Primal Kyogre, boom, there is your next best option. So Mega Swampert is really good. Do not discount it. All right, Mega Tyranitar. I think a lot of people will agree with me, but some people will disagree with me. I think Mega Tyranitar is an obvious S tier. The reason why I say that is because when it comes to dark types and when it comes to rock types, not many options out there, but it's going to be leagues above the rest. Like, if you were to say there's a lot of rock types and a lot of dark types, I still think it would be the #1 choice. In a lot of different raid guides that I've written, I feel like Mega Tyranitar is included the most. Like, there's so many legendaries that are weak specifically against Tyranitar for some reason. I don't know, like the rock typing, like there's like Pokemon with flying typing or psychic typing for some reason that are legendaries. And because of that, Mega Tyranitar is always considered like one of the best options for you to use. It's just that good. I would say it's probably the most useful Mega Evolution. Not necessarily the most powerful, not necessarily the most game-breaking, but immediately once it was released, people found that they were always using it. And I think the reason for that is because of its typing and its moves. And then finally, we've reached Mega Venusaur, and this is going to be a B tier for me. The better option for grass types is going to be Mega Sceptile, but it also has the poison typing, and it's a really solid attacker when it comes to poison types. The only one that could rival it is of course going to be Mega Gengar with poison type attacks, but I will say there's going to be some cases where you will opt to use Mega Venusaur. The reason why for that is because it does have some tankiness. It's going to last a little bit longer in battle compared to some of these other glass cannons, and I think because of that, you're going to have a much more extended time with the Mega Evolution bonus, and yeah, that's going to be beneficial for you. So yeah, there you go. This is my tier list for the Mega Evolutions that are currently in the game. Of course, I did not include any of the announced new Mega Evolutions that are coming to the Pokemon franchise. Once those actually get added to Pokemon Go, then we could, you know, come back to this tier list and figure it out. But yeah, I will say for the Pokemon that are currently in the game, as well as the ones that are coming to Pokemon Go, I think this is pretty accurate, in my opinion. Some of you may disagree, but I think in the overall sense of how useful they are and how powerful they are, this is basically how it is. Yeah. So yeah, there you have it. This was my tier list for all of the Mega Evolutions that are in Pokemon Go and are about to be in Pokemon Go. And like I said, we're not going to be including all of the new Mega Evolutions that were recently announced. Those we'll save for another video in the future. And yeah, I'm really excited to see their inclusion. There is a strong possibility that some of these new Mega Evolutions from Pokémon Legends ZA are going to be game changers. They're going to be much higher on the tier list when it comes to a tier list like this, but we'll just have to wait and see. We do not know when they're going to be coming, but I predict it may actually be pretty soon. In fact, I might even say that some of them might be in the game before even Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Mewtwo Y, because it does seem like Niantic is holding off on those two particular Mega Evolutions for some time. Like, I think when they drop, it's going to be incredibly hype, much to the same degree as Mega Rayquaza when that dropped. So yeah, I really hope it ends up being soon, but we'll have to wait and see. In any case, that's going to be it for this video. Definitely share your thoughts regarding this tier list down below. What in particular did you agree with, or did you feel like this tier list was completely wrong? If you feel that way, definitely share your reasons for thinking that in the comments. Let's have a great discussion around it. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that notification bell so you know exactly when I upload videos. Real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Content channel, the best way you can do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. If you decide to become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. And that means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts, different things like that. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. I'll put a link to it in the description below. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you could do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms you see right now on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow, and that will be a huge help to my channel as well, and you'll be able to keep up with my daily life and get some exclusive content. And that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, and I will catch you all later.